Dragon Ball Super movie Broly did premiere last night for Japan, and now we have a full summary of the movie. I haven't seen the movie yet, but the summary of it's everywhere and can be found easily, and of course it is going to be spoiler heavy, and that is something that we are going to be discussing here today. Of course, by not living in Japan and not being capable of being at the premiere, I haven't really seen it, and that's something for the next month. But on this video we are going to talk about the movie's plot, which of course is going to be lacking details because it's hard to remember every scene, and not having the ability to rewatch it again just really makes it a little bit worse. So you need to know before we go into this that not every movie detail is going to be on here, but of course some of the biggest things or the biggest plot things that Toriyama wrote are still going to be remembered by people who actually told me this. Now let's get into this movie script. Movie pretty much starts off in flashbacks as we have seen in trailer 2. Toriyama in this movie went with a mix of Dragon Ball Minus and the story of Bardock, took scenes from both creations to put into one. Details do change and differ, but the idea and concept behind what Toriyama created with it is actually really good. I have been told that it is very enjoyable to say the least. Story plans out with Bardock noticing that something is not right with Frieza, sending Kakarot or Goku to Earth and then going to face off against the Emperor. Of course you see everything with King Vegeta and Paragus alongside Broly, but as far as the movie shows Goku or Kakarot at that time, Vegeta, Raditz, Nappa, Paragus and Broly are the only survivors. Torbil, the brother of Vegeta, is not actually mentioned. He could be, but from what I've been told, nothing about Torbil at all. After everything takes place, we return to the present, which is technically 40 years later, and it takes place after the Tournament of Power. The story, there is something that we see on the first trailer with Goku eating food before Bulma and company actually realized that Frieza stole the Dragon Balls. They were able to see Frieza from the security camera, and the Dragon Balls that Frieza stole are 6 in total. So there is another one to be found, and that is where everything takes off as we see on the trailer. Everything takes off with Frieza Force finding Broly and Paragus, and actually the latter is recognized by Frieza, while the laughing point is when Frieza actually thinks that Broly is Bulma. Yes, you heard it right. Frieza thinks that Broly is Bulma. Well, I mean, this is very Toriyama, so don't be surprised at all. The reasoning of collecting Dragon Balls is also something that you definitely wouldn't think is true. While everyone possibly should be thinking that Frieza's idea of immortality has returned, and that's why he wants to collect the Dragon Balls, well, that is actually not true, as the Dragon Balls are being gathered with the purpose of Frieza getting taller, for 5 centimeters. His race in general is tall as it is shown visually on the movie, and there is something mentioned about Kula in Japanese, or cooler as it has been translated, and I'm not really sure about it because people are going back and forth, so let's just brush that out of the way. If cooler or Kula is mentioned, then we'll be seeing it when the movie releases on the big screen for Japan and also for the US and every place in the world. This, what we are seeing here, is actually adds up with Frieza wanting to be 5 centimeters taller, and Bulma on the other hand wants to be 5 years younger. So that is the reasoning behind the gathering the Dragon Balls. Not a big deal there, something that Toriyama did more for the gags than anything else. So now that we left this behind, it's time to jump into the juicy stuff that everybody wants to talk about. The actual fight. Broly, Paragus, Frieza and all the others go to Earth where they meet up with Goku and Vegeta. That is where the fight between the 3 Saiyans actually happens. Saiyans being Saiyans, Vegeta jumps up first against Broly, who is fighting on his base form. Just like we see on the trailer, the first portion of the fight is just Vegeta against Broly, and Prince is using Super Saiyan God form and is still ineffective against Broly. But what happens is that when Goku jumps on his base form, he is actually able to beat Broly, and that happens for a while before Goku just gets the same treatment as Vegeta. It is more portrayal of Broly growing in power very quickly while fighting, which makes him a bit more inexperienced compared to the other two. So Broly is growing in power with time, and that is also something that we knew from the trailer itself. But as the fight is progressing, Toriyama decided to use Frieza in a smart way, writing-wise, connecting things to what happened with Goku when he killed off his best friend in Krillin and triggered the transformation. Frieza this time decides to do almost the same thing with Broly and actually goes on to kill Paragus. And you can just imagine what happens with Broly. He is calm before that, as it is explained, but after that decision, well, he completely loses himself and triggers the Super Saiyan. At that point, Goku and Vegeta are no match whatsoever for Broly, and they decide to take off where Piccolo is. While, on the other side, now Frieza has created a huge mess for himself as Broly is going against him. Pretty much the result that you will think is going to happen with Broly being capable of beating Frieza up quite easily, and that's no surprise whatsoever when both Goku and Vegeta are struggling against him. Now it's time to talk about Gogeta. While on the other side, from what we talked, Goku and Piccolo are actually teaching Vegeta the fusion dance. And of course they are talking first about the Potara fusion, but there are no Potaras because no Supreme Kai is around, so they had to come up with teaching Vegeta the fusion dance, and that is the old-fashioned way, as I like to call fusion, because of course that is the first Toriyama introduction to this thing on Dragon Ball. First, the fusion fails with Riku appearing. As you would expect, we have all the wonky stuff we had on Dragon Ball Z, and it really makes up for a relief from the heat of the movie. Very well done with trying to manage the pace that the movie is going for. At some point, they are able to actually create the Gogeta and go to the fighting scene, and this is maybe where we need to clear some misconceptions, or maybe just add even more to the flames that are being burnt at the moment. Many been told that Gogeta is on base form, then goes God and then Blue, but from what I've heard, it is completely the opposite, as God is not part of the movie with Gogeta. He is on his base form first, then transforms into the original golden form before being forced to Super Saiyan Blue because Broly is growing stronger and stronger alongside him. Although there are different variations that people are given, we don't know until this movie is made available worldwide, and not just for a couple thousand people, or how many were there when this movie did premiere. Gogeta and Broly continue their fierce fight, and how it is being explained, the animation is absolutely fantastic on this movie, but especially on this fight. But for people worried, this is not going to be the type of fight of Vegeta against Janemba or Vegeta versus Merge Zamasu. And I should be saying Gogeta versus Janemba, I'm really sorry for that. This is an actual long fight that we are going to get to watch and enjoy. Not sure how long it is in actual minutes or the portion of the movie, but it goes for quite a while, and that is something very exciting to see. So now, let's talk about something that we knew it was going to happen, and that is Whis against Broly. It is an actual thing. It does happen, but for a very brief moment, and Broly stands no chance for Whis, as you would expect. Whis just toys with him here and there. As I was told, Whis doesn't even attack Broly, but he's just moving away a little bit. But anyway, let's go back to the fight between Gogeta and Broly. The fusion is preparing a huge Kamama, something that confirms, or actually tells us, that his signature moves are not going to be on this film. Chilai actually asked the Shenlong or Shenron for Broly to be saved, and the wish is granted as Broly is teleported back home. So Gogeta is doing that move, but actually Chilai saves Broly, which is something very cute, I would say. Gogeta ends the battle as a winner and actually not defused. And now I need to talk about this. This is quite important, and we all saw how badly Vegeta against Merge Zamasu was actually written on Dragon Ball Super, because for some reason I completely lost my train of thought. It just showed us that the stronger Goku and Vegeta are going to get, the lesser the fusion will be important because they are not going to be able to sustain it, but Toriyama decided to change it and give Fusion another shot with actually letting Goku and Vegeta be able to sustain it for longer. Yes, this does indeed retcon what Dragon Ball Super showed us, but this is a good retcon, unlike what Toyotaro did, because if you didn't know, Toyotaro is the guy who came up with Vegeta against Merge Samus. As good as it was to watch, it lasted like 5 minutes for us, not a lot on the show itself, and it just became very stale and boring, and actually Fusions didn't really make sense anymore after that. So seeing Fusion fight for a longer period of time is actually very good. Now let's continue with the plot of the movie. Everyone is going back to the Capsule Corp, and Goku actually takes some food and goes after Broly to offer him and invites Broly for another fight in the future, and Broly actually agrees. So nothing really going on between them. It's just a forced fight, and the portrayal of Broly's character looks to be a huge improvement compared to the old one. He actually has a character before losing his mind after Paragus' death. He has a lot more depth as a character, and that is fantastic to know. This Broly is just completely different from the old one when it comes to that, even though he's keeping some of the old traits what made Broly Broly. From what I have been told, once again, I haven't seen it, this Broly was an incredible antagonist, to say the least. And we were promised a big Goku line, and that comes at the end of the movie, where for the first time ever he calls himself, or he refers to himself as Kakarot, and actually acknowledges his Saiyan heritage. Following the Dragon Ball narrative, you will realize how big of a deal this is with this character, and Goku never really cared about his Saiyan heritage, and now he is starting to feel differently, and that is something that Dragon Ball should definitely try to build up for the future and actually develop Goku's character even more. Some things that other people might be interested is that Beerus actually is babysitting Bula or Bra, whatever you want to call it. Gohan is not shown on the movie at all, and I do think that it is a smart move from Toriyama. Gohan did not belong on this fight, and why show him and just ruin it? Because he now has a different character, and we might want to see him fight once again. So leave that open for the future. Don't just rush back Gohan to be in that color, and actually give us more Gohan action on the future series or movies. I apologize, I'm a little bit sick. So pretty much, movie is wrapped up there and leaves things for the future open, such as Kula or things of that nature. Their original idea behind it and the concepts are actually really good, and this is definitely a movie to watch. Animation, storyboarding, music, everything in it just felt exceptional from how people describe it to me. So definitely this is a movie to keep an eye for. I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I really hope I gave my best to explain it the best possible and make you all understand what is going on the movie. I don't have every detail because this is a very long movie and you can be given just like 13, 14, 15 how long this video turns out to be minute and actually explain everything. So don't worry, I am going to Japan on 9th of December or 8th, I'm not really sure, or 10th, somewhere between that area, because it is not confirmed yet with who I'm going, so I have to wait between those dates. But I will be on the movie. I've booked my ticket, I have bought my ticket, and I'm actually going to be watching the movie, and then we are going to have the full review here on this channel. So if you don't want to miss out on that or another Dragon Ball discussion, informations or anything, make sure you subscribe with notifications enabled so you don't miss out in any of them. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, let me know how I did, and let me know what do you think about the story or how I portrayed it, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys.